Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and why don't you sit back, relax, and let me tell you about Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends, and the Secret Fairy. Let's get started. Alright, before we go any further, a review code was provided by the publisher, and this review was based on the PS5 version. Ryza 2 starts with a brief recap of the first game before truly getting into things. I played probably 2 or 3 hours of the first Atelier Ryza, so I wasn't familiar with it. The recap does a good enough job of filling you in. Shortly after the recap, Ryza is given this mysterious egg and a mission to go to the capital to learn what she can about this egg. When you arrive, you start running into characters from the last game that help show you around the city because it's big, and you easily get lost. The first 2 characters you run into are Tao and Boss. Tao is grown up, I do remember Tao. Boss looks the same, and after they get done showing you around the city, Tao lets you know that there are some local ruins that he has been exploring, and maybe you want to go investigate those with him. Naturally, you do go investigate them with him. And when you get to the end of the ruins, there is this big door that you can't open up, and Ryza hears a mysterious voice and sees a mysterious spirit. Tao does not see any of these, but the egg somehow seems to be connected to all of these and these ruins and spirits. Not really sure how at that point, but yeah, eventually you figure it out. And the egg actually hatches into this weird little creature called Fee, and it can fly. Fee seems to have some sort of connection with the ruins, and that is part of the game, figuring out what the connection is. So you're told that there are multiple ruins on the island, and part of your main mission then becomes to go explore all of these ruins. There is another mission which is basically, hey, you want to stay in this town? You got to help the town out. And this basically just means you got to do a bunch of side quests for people whenever you find the time. And with that, Ryza sets out with both new and old friends alike onto a new adventure. Atelier Ryza 2 has 2 main focuses: dungeon crawling and alchemy. Both of these feed into each other and create a system that works well. You go into a dungeon, gather materials, fight enemies, and gather treasure. You then come back home and use those materials to create new items to aid you in combat, help you access new areas, or to complete quests. The further you get into the ruins, the more alchemy recipes you unlock. The only thing that really slows you down is that your inventory space is limited, so if you pick up too many materials, you either have to get rid of old ones or you have to go back and drop them all off. While you're exploring the world or in dungeons, you will of course run into enemies that you have to fight, and this is a JRPG. Atelier Ryza 2 is a JRPG, about as JRPG as you can get. And it's a turn-based combat style. To be honest, it's really easy, and you likely won't die until well past the first half of the game. I don't think I died until I got probably about 30 hours in, and even then it was just because I was being dumb. While in combat, you use your basic attacks and magics to get more item points. When you have enough item points, you can then use your alchemy items to either heal yourself, do damage, inflict status ailments on enemies, things like that. The longer you stay in combat, the stronger your magic attacks become, and the stronger your items become. So if the fight goes on for too long, you're actually doing a lot more damage. Though fights rarely go that long, unless it's a boss fight, and they have a ton of HP. And then there are the combo attacks, the attacks that you do with your allies. While in combat, an ally will say, hey, do magic damage, do lightning damage, for example, and if you do that to the enemy, they will then either buff you, or they will jump in with their own attack to do more damage. So the combat system does have complexity to it, but I never really felt that I needed to go deep into all the systems. To be fair, the reason that the combat was so easy is because of the alchemy system. You make everything you use in battle: weapons, armors, charms, bombs, healing items, you name it. Anything you use in combat, you will likely make yourself. If you focus enough effort and materials into a bomb, it suddenly hits every enemy and more often than not, kills them. If you put enough critical damage or critical attack into your weapon, all of a sudden, nearly all of your attacks are doing critical damage. Maybe an enemy is giving you a little bit of trouble and it's a longer fight, so you put HP regen on your armor or your charm, and you're literally taking no damage because you heal it before they even hit you. When I say combat is trivial, it's really only that way because I made it that way. If you focus on alchemy, you will quickly outpace the game's challenges. That being said, at first, alchemy can be kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of systems in play here, and you are going to have to spend a little bit of time messing around and figuring out what it is. To use alchemy, you basically have to combine materials and other items into a new item. But through that, you can get additional effects, new traits, different qualities, different numbers. There's a lot of stats that can go into these items, and you have to look at them closely, or else you're just going to make something random that might not synergize well. At first, it's a little bit more complicated because you can only put in so many items, but as you progress, you can add more and more, so you can make even stronger weapons, armor, whatever you're making with your alchemy. I probably spent a good hour at first trying to figure it all out, but after that hour, I was very confident in alchemy, and it actually became my favorite part of the game. There is one thing that very quickly gets annoying in the ruins, and that is those spirits I was talking about earlier. You have to find them in every set of ruins, every set of dungeons, and the thing is, they don't always let you get them when you're first there. So let's say you're on the second floor of a dungeon, the second floor of the water ruins, for instance, and there is a spirit. You need to get it in order to unlock everything in this ruins. Well, it's blocked off by something and you can't access it right now. Well, what does that mean? That means you got to go through the dungeon, get the item, and then you have to come back and then get that spirit. So sometimes you're running through dungeons or ruins a few times in a row just to get all of these spirits that you need. My guess is they did this to pad the game out a little bit, and after you get all the spirits, you then have to find the right words and put them into the book. It's not difficult, again, it's just tedious, and once it's all figured out, you get more points, get more recipes. It's just a time sink. Outside of your dungeon crawl and your alchemy, like I said, there are side quests. Most of these are, hey, gather X amount of material, build me something, or kill X amount of monsters. Sometimes you get a specialty one from your friends, like they want you to craft a specific item or find something specific. These are a little more challenging because they ask for like rare items, but they also progress the story with your friends. For instance, Claudia wanted a locket, and it took me a while to get all the pieces, but when I got it, there was a nice little story moment between her and Ryza. I liked it. There's also generic side quests, as I said. These help you build rep with the certain factions in the city, and don't get too excited about it. Basically, it means you'll get new items you can buy at the shop, and reduced prices at shops, and maybe a few new shops as well. It's nothing complex. Just doing quests gets you the rep. And then back at your atelier, that's where you craft your alchemy and everything, there is this big blue puny, I'm not sure how it's pronounced actually, but you give him an item, he goes out, he comes back, and he delivers items. Sometimes he changes into different punies, but I didn't really spend too much time with it, to be honest. It just seemed pointless. But you can decorate your atelier. You can add different items, beds, different decor, like little statues and figures that you find. It's a good way to waste a little bit of extra time when you're not doing your main story stuff. As I said, I played this on the PlayStation 5. I didn't run into any bugs or any crashes or any frame drops, anything like that. And it is there's no English dub, but there are English subs, is what I'm getting at. While Atelier Ryza 2 will not set your world on fire, it does serve as comfort food for JRPG fans that are looking for their fix. If you're not a JRPG fan though, this is an easy pass. Quite frankly, you should be able to look at this game and determine almost immediately if it is something for you or not. JRPG fans, check it out. Otherwise, no. Anyways, that'll do it for me. If you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.